Welcome to part 2 of unboxing the prime weld machine. If you haven't seen the first video, definitely check out the channel and watch the first video where we unboxed it, went over some of the accessories that it came with, and got our setup done. In this video, we're gonna be setting up our TIG torch and tacking a couple stainless pieces, maybe running a bead around that, and talking about how I feel about the machine's functionality overall and some of its features. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for the torch setup, remember I said it came with some accessories already, and I wanted to use like everything for this welder, but we already have a torch kit. So I'm just gonna use what I'm going to be using for our projects. So boom, our ferric gas lens kit. Okay, so we ran into a bit of a problem that I was not expecting. Yeah, when I sold the Eastwood welder, it came with a 17 torch, and I now have a 19 torch that I was using a lot. So I have everything for the 19. I no longer have any 17 torch stuff, not even CK stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and you guys get like kind of a bonus here. I'm gonna show you how to just replace the torch heads. We're gonna take this 19 that we have and bring it down here because that's what we're gonna set up and use. And let me go ahead and close this so I don't lose anything. So first thing you wanna do is just go ahead and take this handle, pull it down, get it exposed. Then you wanna get 2 wrenches, adjustable, because technically that's an 11 too. And you don't want to strip anything. Like, it's brass. Like, this stuff is really, really soft. And it feels like it's on there super tight, which it's not super tight, but yeah, enough to where you can strip it if you're not using the right thing. We're gonna go ahead and take this one off because this goes to our 19 torch. Let's go ahead and do the 17. All right, and then take this piece off as well. Yeah. And again, don't need to tighten the hell out of it, just snug enough. And then we'll go ahead and shove that back in there. Boom, 17 torch is now on the free one that's hanging out up there. And then we'll get our 19 set up. Nice and tight. And you can also clearly see the difference between these two. Like, look at how big the 17 is versus the 19. This is lighter weight. It's easier like for maneuverability, especially when you're doing like the type of stuff we're doing. It's not like we're pipe welding or doing anything, like we're doing some small intricate stuff sometimes. So you want your hand to be like, have the least amount of weight on it as possible. I don't weld with like watches or rings or anything on, but yeah, you want lightweight stuff. And this is also a flex head, so that's pretty cool too. All right, so our torch is set up. We have our cup, gas lens, tungsten, our collet body, back cap. Everything is nice and snug, and that's the whole setup. Now we're ready for welding. So let's go ahead and close some of this stuff up. I'm gonna look really quick and see what we do have to weld, if we have any like clean metal or anything. And we'll get this machine fired up and we'll fire off a couple arcs and just kind of discuss some of the features of the machine. All right, so I found a couple of pieces of stainless steel, some 3-inch exhaust that we actually have a project for this coming up soon for a downpipe. But we're just gonna put these 2 pipe pieces together. Oh, it's alive. Look at that. With all these features, it's kind of loud. It's actually a lot louder than the Eastwood machine, I will say that. So we're gonna be TIG welding some stainless. So we want to stay in DC. We're not gonna be in AC, that would be alternating current for welding aluminum. And if we were in AC, then these other options here would apply, the AC frequency, AC balance. So that's one of the main reasons that I got this machine. But it's also awesome because you can pulse and use duty cycle, or pulse and change the pulse duty cycle and everything for welding stainless or welding regular steel, which will come in super handy, especially when you're doing a lot of the same project over and over and over. You can basically like set it and forget it, have it pulse, so you're not like overheating the part. And yeah, there's just, we could talk about that for a really long time, but let's just talk about what we're doing right now. This is where we're gonna adjust our welding current, which we're gonna be welding some really thin stainless. So I'm only gonna put it at about like 45. We don't need anything like too crazy or too high. Start current is, the lowest is about 10. So that's fine. Base current for the pulse setting is 5, but we're not gonna be using the pulse setting right now. We have our pre-flow at about 2.5 seconds. Maybe we could go up a little bit higher because it is stainless. And then we have our post flow at, I think this is about maybe 7 or 8 seconds. You want to make sure that when you're welding stainless that you do have sufficient gas coverage. I can't stress that enough, because if not, like, it's not stainless anymore. So that's just the basic. Oh, and then there's this 2-touch and 4-touch control. Basically, if you end up setting up your torch to where you can almost automatic weld with this. Let's say you have a piece on a rotator, you can essentially set your torch up, have that piece rotate, double tap the pedal, and it'll just stay on and keep welding. And you can also do the same thing to turn it off. You click it twice. I don't know, it comes with so many options. I think this also has the same thing for the MIG welder. You can set it up the same way. So if you're doing a lot of parts consistently of the same pieces over and over, you can like really maximize your efficiency with a setup like this. I think we're pretty much set. We're gonna leave the pulse off. We're not going to mess with that yet, but the main reason why I wanted this machine is because it has a pulse duty cycle on it. You can pulse for steel and stainless. You can also pulse for aluminum, and it really comes in handy when you are doing a lot of parts, but also it comes in handy when you're trying to have temperature control. You're not trying to overheat the part. What I was doing with the Eastwood welder is I would get on the pedal and like get off a little bit, get on, get off, and like kind of pulse it myself like that. And sometimes that gets a little bit tiring. So it's nice to have a machine that can do it for you and change the frequency and just do all types of stuff. Now, it is going to be a learning curve for me because the last machine didn't have that. And now this machine has like so many more options. I mean, it's not like overwhelming, but it's a lot. It is a lot of shit. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's tack a couple things up on this. All right, so the first thing to get welding here is we're gonna turn our gas on. Damn, this shit is loud. And turn that flow down to about like 35. We're actually gonna put a bigger cup on this. I like my cups BBW we tack these pieces together, and look at that. Autogenous tacks means we didn't use any filler, but the machine did it like so fast. Just like a quick tap on the pedal and they were tacked together, even on the inside. Like that is really nice. Part is, I mean, it's warm to the touch, but like I can grab it with my bare hands. It didn't put a whole lot of heat into it. I didn't have to sit there for a while and wait. It was there.
By the way, all of this has been previously prepped. If you haven't seen the video on pie cuts, go ahead and watch that. It shows like how I prep them, clean them, make sure you use acetone and everything before you weld. We did an autogenous weld for the first one that we did, and it came out all right. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Yeah, there we go. It came out all right. For our first time using the welder, all right, cool. Not bad. Now trying to add filler. Yeah, like we started out good, but then we got super uncomfortable. Always make sure you're comfortable. But trying to weld this piece like this is actually a little challenging. So I take these blocks off and actually like put it in the vise so that we can be a lot more stable. And we'll get back into it. There we go. Alrighty, now let's talk about what the hell I just did, what I did to myself, where I went wrong, the things that I did right, and now some more of the pros and cons about this machine.
Alright, so as you can see here with this machine, we got some really nice autogenous welds going on, full penetration. That was easy to do, right? We had really good gas coverage there. Everything's been back purged, by the way. And then here, where we were adding filler, this is the start of our weld, this is the very end of our weld. But if I flip this over, you're gonna see a straight trash, which is okay. We're adjusting to new settings, new possibilities. But yeah, I burnt the hole through there. I got a little too happy with the foot pedal. Also, there was a gap here. I'm used to being able to weld gaps with the Eastwood welder, even on thin stuff. We didn't do this portion here. And you can see here, the control of the arc was starting to run away from me, which wasn't the welder's fault at all. Definitely mine. I was uncomfortable. I was chasing the part. It wasn't secured properly. I was just trying to lay down a bead. Yeah, always make sure you're comfortable. Make sure that the piece that you're welding is secured, that it's not running away from you, so you're not chasing like a moving target, so to say. That's all really important. A couple things you may have seen when I was doing this project was the fact that I arc flashed myself quite a few times. You'll see it even on the Instagram live video that I did. Damn it. The Instagram live video that I did. This foot pedal is super sensitive. When you initially go to start the arc and you like kind of get that first click, I don't know if you can hear it, that starts the pre-flow, and then it's like a little bit more before you actually get an arc. And when you get that arc, I see what the start current is now. Like that, it blasts these two pieces of metal and hits it with like a decent amount of power. That's why I was able to do the tack so quickly. And then it seems like it kind of calms down, and then the arc evens out. That was interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to play with the settings a lot on this to get used to it, but all in all, I can still weld with it. Another thing that was different with this pedal and this machine that I guess you could say I developed a bad habit with the Eastwood machine is the post flow on the Eastwood machine, I think only went up to like 7 or 9 seconds. This goes all the way up to 15 seconds for post flow. So I was used to the Eastwood machine, like when I needed a little bit more post flow, just like tapping the pedal, like just a little bit with the torch there. And I always like take my hood off after so I could see like what the weld's looking like, just kind of get it as I'm going inspection. I realized I can't do that here because the pedal is so sensitive and it blasts it instantly that as long as that argon is flowing and I click this pedal, it's going to create an arc. I can have the torch at this angle, it'll still create an arc just with that little bit of a tap. I was doing that before to keep the argon flowing. I don't need to do that with this machine. So I am gonna have to try to figure out how to get past that bad habit because I've arc flashed myself 3 times. I think that's probably one of the only bad habits that I have from the last machine compared to this machine. And I guess with the last machine, I was used to welding gaps. Like I had a decent amount of leeway with not having things like super flush every single time or working with like fitment issues. Oftentimes when I weld, I do get things like as perfect as, well, not perfect, but as flush as I could get them, as square as I could get them, part to the other part, so that when I go to weld them, I don't have any problems. This was also where the hole was also on the part where as the argon's flowing through the piece, it's being pushed out of that spot. So as I'm welding it, the argon is kind of pushing through the weld back up and I was fighting it. And that's why that hole is there. Could that have been avoided? Yes, if I took my time when I was tacking it and getting all these pieces kind of crammed together. If I really took my time when doing it, made sure everything was square, I wouldn't have had that problem at all. So that's something that's easily avoidable. Can't be blamed on the welder. That's user error at that point. So far though, I really, really like this welder. Like I'm super excited to get into all the different settings that it has on it, like, and to be able to use all the settings properly and have some fun with it. I'm really, really excited about the pulse and being able to change the AC frequency and the balance. That was one of my biggest things because welding all different types of aluminum, it's nice to be able to change that AC frequency and that AC balance so that you can get proper penetration, proper cleaning, and especially when you're doing cast aluminum to like a billet piece or like a V-band or something. You're trying to weld like a turbo housing and put a V-band like right at the end of it. Or if you're doing I think they're monolocks or whatever they're called, like the Alpha Lock style intercooler piping. You're welding like a clean, nice piece of billet aluminum to some cast that has like silicates and all types of other stuff in it, possibly magnesium, depending on like what type of aluminum it is. Like the machine can help you adjust for that. Like you could be a great welder and do it, but this machine can help you get past those hurdles to still have really good welds that look nice, but are also strong and are going to be nice. And that also helps your bottom line as far as price goes and like what you can charge people as well, because you know like the product that you offer. And this welder can help make sure that you're consistent with that. It does take a lot of practice. I am gonna have to come over here a lot more and get used to this welder. It's a completely new setup. It's like taking the drift car out, and I have new tires, new angle setup and everything. I'm gonna be a little shitty at first, but eventually we'll get the hang of it and we'll start dropping some nice ass dimes on stainless, on aluminum. I still have titanium that I have not messed with yet, but we're gonna get there. Either way, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully I have some more videos coming for you guys soon. Sorry for the long hiatus. There has been a lot of stuff going on, which we'll get into some of that stuff later on, with things going on with the garage, things going on with Construe Customs in general, and kind of where we're headed. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.